Developed and published by Sega, Binary Domain is a third-person shooter that is fun but falls short in many areas. In the year 2080, global warming has caused the sea levels to rise and making most of the major cities uninhabitable. However, humanity has managed to build new cities on top of the old ones with the assistance of robots. Bergen, an American company who controls the robotics industry, gets sued by Armada, a Japanese company, for using their technology, but the case gets disputed due to Bergen's huge influence and making the US the largest superpower. This forms the new Geneva Convention, a list of international laws to prevent robots from being passed on as humans, or as the game calls them, hollow children. But when Bergen gets attacked by one of these synthetics, the US believe that Yoshi Armada, the founder of the Armada Corporation, is responsible for the incident. As Dan Marshall, a soldier of the IRTA, or International Robotics Technology Association, is sent in with his partner Bo to bring in the suspect for questioning. I like games that make the attempt to create a unique but evocative story. While not all games require a plot to give context to its gameplay, but I like how Binary Domain makes the attempt to tell a thought-provoking narrative rather than just some generic storyline with typical cover-based shooting. Binary Domain illustrates what if these robots made themselves indistinguishable to humans, and while there are moments where it conveys its message with some convincing performances, there are times where the dialogue sounds out of place.
Don't panic, folks. We're here just inspecting the emergency escape route. All okay?
Yes. Sure, everything checks out.
Outstanding.
The characters throughout the game come off as stereotypes, but towards the second half, the story did become more compelling, and there are a few unexpected twists and turns. Unlike other third-person shooters, the enemies in Binary Domain are robots. This paves way to the dismember mechanic, which allows you to shoot off limbs from your opposition. For example, shooting their heads off will make them target their allies, shoot at their legs and they'll start to crawl to you. You may think this feature will get old, but tearing your opposition limb by limb is satisfying, and the particle effects of shooting off the armour does convey a sense of damage. Moreover, as you kill enemies you earn credits, allowing you to purchase new weapons, upgrades and nanomachines that can buff certain attributes, both for Dan and for his allies. Speaking of allies, throughout the game you'll meet up with new squad members that will not only join your cause, but will give you the ability to choose who you want within your squad, with each having their own traits. Also, you'll be able to use squad commands to tell your team such as charge, regroup, open fire and so on and so forth, but more on that later. For the most part, Binary Domain's gameplay is fun, and having a personalised squad of soldiers is a nice touch, but despite what it does right, it can't avoid its numerous problems.
Data sucks!
To begin with, the squad command feature is not only for ordering your allies, but depending on how they react to your actions, it will affect their trust with you and determine the game's ending. However, since most of the characters are stereotypes and the fact your commands that you're given are basic, there was no sense of character development during my playthrough. It also doesn't help that your teammates can hold their own within a firefight, which further defeats the need to give out orders. In some cases you may be forced into conversations, but since most of these are either requests or compliments, it feels like the developers were trying to use this as an excuse to make it plausible, and since Dan doesn't speak during these moments, and the fact you're presented with black and white answers, it makes this feature less convincing.
Well, that's rather lame.
As I said before, you can choose who you want within your squad as each have their own attributes, but since your commands are basic and your allies can fend for themselves, it makes their expertise redundant on the battlefield. If you had the ability to tell specific squad members to do certain tasks, it would make their skills more useful. Bo, for example, can use his LMG for suppressive fire, or if I had Faye, I can order her to counter-snipe since she carries a sniper rifle. As such, this would have made Binary Domain's gameplay more interesting and would have opened up more tactics to utilise, but because the squad commands are simple to begin with, the idea of instructing specific teammates felt like a missed opportunity. But the main problem is the boss fights. Not only are they bullet sponges, but they can take you down in one hit. There was one moment where I was forced to use a turret with armour-piercing rounds, however because I couldn't turn a full 360 degrees and the fact the boss could come up behind me and incapacitate me in a single blow, this led to becoming both unfair and frustrating. Therefore, if you do get knocked down, don't be surprised when you get back up.
Hey Dan! You okay? Well then, just try not to get reckless, okay?
Binary Domain may not blow you away as far as graphical fidelity is concerned, but the various environments you'll traverse are well designed and do convey a sense of progression as you go from one location to another. Sure, you'll be shooting robots, but there'll be times where you'll be able to appreciate the environments. Also, Binary Domain has a variety of enemy designs. Although you'll be doing the same thing over and over, it manages to keep itself fresh without becoming stale. Finally, the voice acting is a mixed bag. While there are some believable performances, it's hard to take itself seriously as it doesn't keep itself consistent, especially when some of the dialogue they say does come off stereotypical and cringeworthy.
Well, do not just stand there, mes amis. Hurry, get in! A minor complication, but our rendezvous was still a success.
On a whole, Binary Domain is a fun but flawed game. While it doesn't do anything new in the gameplay department, as well as lacking polish in many areas, it manages to be a decent yet entertaining game throughout. Binary Domain has its moments, but it won't be for everybody.
Whatever you say. Au revoir.